And we are live. Yet another month here on the Patreon live stream.
Yeah. Today's topic is Costa Rica. Basically, a travel guide to Costa Rica. We just like we did last week about Thailand. We're gonna do Costa Rica today and basically talk about everything you need to know in order to go to Costa Rica, at least, you know, from our perspective. Because it's based basically on, we're going to tell you to basically do exactly what we did. Yeah. And that's just, you know, we were just in one area of the country and that's what, so we only know a little bit. There's tons of other ways to go to Costa Rica as well, of course. Mm-hmm. But we'll share our tips and tricks and thoughts about going there. And that's our plan today. And of course it's a live hangout, but if you're watching the recording of this in a few weeks
on YouTube,
know that you can join the next live hangout and talk to us in the chat room like all the other Patreon supporters are by going to patreon.com, and there's a link in the description.
Jenny Marie is already with us. Happy Saturday to you too.
Yeah, good that the stream looks good. Why is it looking like that there?
It's
though?
just not updated.
Make sure it's updated so it's looking... Yeah. Alright, by the way, Jenny, Marie, check it out.
Yeah.
Jenny sent us...
We got a package from one of our patrons,
yeah.
Jenny Marie, and she sent us a couple of books as well as some other cool stuff.
Yeah, so we're super happy. Thanks for that. We'll wait a little bit before we start talking about the topic, just to allow people to get in.
I think this is probably the first live stream where you on YouTube can actually see a recording of the chat. It might have been the last
one. It was on the last one too.
Okay, well anyway, it's pretty cool.
It's a new feature on YouTube, which means that, yeah, basically, even though you're watching the recording of the hangout,
you're also seeing a recording of the chat, so it's live.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
Yeah, it's a bit of a crazy day for me anyway. That rhymed because I had guitar students all day, and then I went straight into a coaching session just now. And then now, literally straight into this hangout. So that's intense. Jenny Kanelhjärta, I made it in time. Glad you made it, Jenny. We have our two Jennys with us. That's good. Eventually, when the Patreon community grows immensely, the Jennys can be moderators. Yeah. You know, you guys are always here, so you could be like our moderators in the chat or something like that.
We're gonna have like thousands of patrons.
Yeah, but Jenny Kanelhjärta, you know, I just posted the picture that you sent us. She made a digital painting of us. I just posted it on Facebook, and it was just
really awesome.
Oh, it's so great.
I don't think I've ever been drawn before. Maybe once when I was a small child in France or something on the street, but
it was so good quality too. If anyone hasn't seen it, they need to go to our Facebook page and scroll down to find the post where we posted it. A digital painting. So thanks a lot for that.
You'll be famous, Jenny.
Yeah. Jenny Marie asks how our tractor session on Thursday was, and it was good.
Yeah.
It's always fun to drive the tractor. Mm-hmm. We worked all day to, you know, build, to clean up out here and get a lot of crap into the tractor, what is it called, the trailer.
Yeah.
And then we took it to the dump.
Here's a picture of the tractor session. It was fun.
Matt is in the back of the trailer and I'm driving it. Yeah.
So anyway, let's get into the topic. We've only been to Costa Rica once, but we did spend 3 months there. That said, we only stayed in one area of Costa Rica, so we should caveat the discussion with with the fact that we were only in the San Isidro area, which is kind of southwest-ish.
Yes, southwestish. It's kind of a weird country because it's
slanted.
South. Well, it's on the Pacific coast. We were on the we were on the Pacific side of
the Hawaii side.
Yeah, Juice Feast movement. Garrett, glad you could join us.
Good to have you with us.
He asks where if I spent any time close to Platanillo, and
that sounds very familiar.
Yeah, I think Platanillo was
slightly
very close.
Yeah,
just a bit higher up.
Yeah, slightly closer to San Isidro.
Yeah, I think so. We were in that area. We actually lived in Tinamastes, which is sort of halfway between San Isidro and Dominical Beach, and Platanillo was close by as well. We're looking at a map now.
Though Google has become terrible with images.
You have
to visit.
The Google.
Oh, I didn't really say.
You said the Google has become bad with images. Anyway, we were on the South Pacific coast. Let's call it that.
Yeah, let's just bring it up since I have it.
Map.
Yeah. We were. You can point.
We were somewhere around here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was very tropically, a lot of forests. There are some areas in Costa Rica that are quite dry, I think. We were definitely on the...
Yeah, the north of Costa Rica is quite dry, and the eastern coast, the sort of Gulf coast, that's more of a Caribbean side. It's called the Caribbean side, and that's really like wet tropics. It's really wet there. And yeah, I think most of the tourism happens on the Pacific coast.
Yeah. Juice Feast movement saying that he's planning on having a retreat there later this year, and that's cool. Yeah, it's a very good place for it.
And it's a great region for fruit, and we'll get into that because we'll talk about exactly where to buy the fruit and why it's a good particular place for fruit. So before we do that, let's then rewind and talk about preparations before you go to Costa Rica. So first of all, why Costa Rica? Well, there's so many places in the world, and we tend to talk about the places we've been to. So, it's there are a lot of good places to go for fruit, but Costa Rica is certainly one of them. And just the name Costa Rica, the rich coast, it actually refers to partly the fruit there, right? They are proud of their nature, the richness of the nature there, partly the fruit. And so there's a lot of different fruits there, and just like in Thailand, it's somewhat of an industry there. Fruit, obviously, we get a lot of bananas from there here in Norway, and so it's a fruit country.
National identity kind of thing.
Yeah, and for Americans, it's pretty perfectly situated, just south of USA, because you can go there without actually crossing too many time zones.
Yeah.
I wish we had a place like that, If we head south, we basically get to Africa, which could be cool, but it's not exactly as safe and developed and stable. I mean, depends on which country you're talking about, but...
it's always easy to travel to, and maybe not as many travelers there.
Yeah.
Costa Rica.
I would love to just be living in, the United States and just head straight down to Costa Rica. It's just such a perfect place to go. Compared to the other countries around, it's one of the more developed countries, and it's one of the safer countries. Some of the countries in South America especially, of course, are known to be statistically quite dangerous. What?
I just saw Jenny Marie said that I want to go so badly. And isn't that what you say when you have to go to the toilet?
Yeah.
I have to go so badly. That might be why she later said it to Costa Rica.
Yeah, Jenny Gonelers agrees with me. So definitely Costa Rica is a good place to go. You need to book tickets first, obviously. And I mean now is a good time, I guess, to mention that the checklist.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we've, or rather, you have been working on extensive travel checklist.
Yeah. So I'm telling you guys now, and no one else knows this actually, and it's going to be an official launch next week. But since you're our Patreon supporters and this is like an internal community thing, I can tell you guys now. And when this video is out on YouTube, the checklist will already be launched. So we'll put a link to the checklist eventually in the description. But basically, and in the corner probably. But basically, I've made a checklist that goes through everything you need to do before you go traveling. So 3 months before, a couple of weeks before, a few days before, and then you can check off all the different sort of things so you don't forget anything, you know, because there's so many things to think about when you're going traveling. Mm-hmm. And I thought of it now because I said the first thing you do is to book tickets, right? And that is the first thing, probably. One of the first things you do is to book the tickets to where you're going. Check. And then, okay, so anyway, I will do an official launch of the travel checklist next week. And so that'll be cool. But you book the ticket, but there's a special thing to keep in mind when you go to Costa Rica.
Yeah, a very annoying thing.
I don't know if it's still like that, but when we went, it was like that. Mm. Tell them.
Yeah, we had to book tickets via. Well, there's two things. What were you thinking about?
Onward Journey.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking about the fact that you have to show proof of Onward Journey when you go to Costa Rica. You have to show them that you're not staying there. So you have to have a ticket out of the country before the 3 months are up. And we actually didn't know how long we wanted to stay there, so we wanted to go on a one-way ticket. Mm-hmm. But you can't do that.
So what we basically had to do was that we had to buy a 100% refundable ticket through a different company.
JetBlue.
Yeah. Basically going out of Costa Rica after like a certain amount of time. And then when we had entered Costa Rica or bought our tickets to Costa Rica, we got that ticket refunded. The problem with refundable tickets are that they are quite expensive. So it feels kind of scary to buy a really expensive ticket only to actively refund it later. And we did end up losing a little bit of money because of changes in the value of certain currency.
But basically, I mean, it's just you book a refundable ticket, you get the money back more or less, and there you go, right? Mm-hmm. So that's something to keep in mind. You don't want to book a one-way ticket. And there you go. Then you go to Costa Rica. That's really all it is. And of course, there's a lot of different preparations you need to go before traveling, and that's mentioned, of course, in the travel checklist. But it's also mentioned in my ebook, the Way of the Fruitful Traveler, where I talk about tropical travel for fruit fanatics.
Which also has a travel
packing list. Yeah, there's a packing list in that book as well. Mm-hmm. Jenny Marie says, I end up packing at the last minute and take my entire closet with me. Fortunately, I only own a suitcase amount of clothes in the first place. Yeah, that's good. That's a very typical situation. But the best remedy against packing too much is two things. Small backpack, or like, you buy a backpack or a bag that's the size that you want to travel with, and then that's your limitation. You can only bring whatever fits in the backpack. That's one way to keep it light. And another way to keep it light is to do what I mentioned in what I do mention in the travel checklist what I do mention in the travel checklist, which is to make a list of everything you want to bring and then work on it over a couple of weeks. Eliminating stuff, thinking, do I really need 2 pairs of that? No, I just need 1 pair. Do I really need this item? No. And then constantly eliminate stuff until you got a short list, the bare essentials or whatever. And then that's good. I mean, if you want to travel light. You don't have to travel light, of course. You could travel heavy too, but...
Let's get into Costa Rica.
Yeah, so you arrive in Costa Rica, in San Jose, basically, at the airport.
That's the capital of Costa Rica. And thankfully, there are lots of hostels close to the airport in a place called... well, they're probably everywhere, but we went specifically to a place called Alajuela.
Yeah, Alajuela or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. Alajuela. Yeah. And that's a place very close to the airport. I think we took a taxi there.
Yeah.
Definitely just take a taxi because it's so short. I think it was 5 minutes. Seriously,
Yeah,
I think that the airport basically is in Alajuela.
Mm-hmm. They actually sometimes the taxi drivers will want to scam you a little bit for money. I remember.
Do they?
Yeah, but try to figure out what the average taxi price is for a short trip like that, and then just be aware of it. But it's not a big problem. Scamming is not a big thing in Costa Rica, at least from what we noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, we're just gonna say this, that everything we're gonna tell you today is how we did it. Okay, so we're telling you how to do it if you want to do exactly what we did. But of course, you can do a different thing. You can arrive in Alajuela or San Jose and just take the bus same day to go somewhere else, right? Or there's a lot of different ways to do it. But this is how we did it. We went straight to Alajuela, and there's a particular hostel which is called Alajuela Backpackers.
Yeah.
And that's where we just bought a bunk, like a.
Well, it was a.
Well, we actually arrived separately.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that until now. We arrived separately, like different days. So we had two different experiences. You slept at the airport, actually.
Yeah, well, I tried to, and I didn't sleep at all. So that was the worst trip of my life. I spent 40 hours awake and sleeping only on the bus from San Jose to San Isidro.
No.
Like 3 hours, and it was glorious.
And but I arrived and went straight to all the other backpackers and just got a bed in a dorm for one night until the next day, because we have a 2-night rule, and that is always when you arrive somewhere new, book 2 nights in a hotel, because you don't want to wake up after one night in a hotel and you're so tired from the trip yesterday, and then you feel like you just want to find some fruit and just relax a little bit, but then no, you have to keep going because you're going to catch a bus for another bus and then another bus to go somewhere new. It's much better to just take a day and relax, arrive, settle down, and then the next day, that's when you go to your next destination. So we have a 2-night rule. We always spend the first day just chilling out.
Now, speaking of fruit, there is in Alajuela, there is actually I wouldn't call it world famous, but a famous organic market. We never went to it because it didn't match up with our schedule, because we didn't spend a lot of time in San Jose. But there is an organic market there. I don't know the details, but I know it's big. I know there's tons of fruit and probably really good prices, etc. And I think it was on Fridays.
Okay.
But I don't remember.
Either way, you'll find fruit. You're in Costa Rica, and even though it's not Thailand is fruit everywhere, but you'll find fruit for sure.
However, Alajuela was difficult.
The
bananas I ate were the worst bananas I've had in my entire life.
Still, though, it's famous. Alajuela is famous for mangoes, for example. It's the most famous place. It's the mango place, I think, in Costa Rica. So, anyway, you'll find fruit for sure. Mm-hmm. Then, well. Should we talk about the fruit seasons and stuff first, or when to go maybe before we talk further?
Yeah, we can just jump all over the place.
Yeah, okay, so we'll freeze it there. We're arrived, we're in Alajuela, we spent 2 nights, we're ready to move on. But before we do that, what time in general is it a good idea to go to Costa Rica?
Yeah, I'm really bad with fruit seasons, but I know at least we were there from January to
April.
Yeah. And the fruit season developed a little bit along that time. You probably know when the mango season starts.
Well, first of all, the rainy season, and again, we're not experts on the Costa Rican climate or fruit seasons, but I believe the rainy season is like from the summer, like June, July, August, September, October, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so from November, December, and for sure January, it's dry season, which is probably a nice little thing. I mean, if you're going to Costa Rica, you probably want to go there in the dry season. Even though even in the rainy season, I hear it's a lot of sun and it's not raining all the time. It's just nicer to have good weather every day. Mm. And then so we were in January. So the best time is probably December through May or something like that.
Yeah.
And mango season officially, like, it really peaks around, I believe it's around March or something like that.
Well, maybe I think it starts in January.
Well, it starts in January, but that's just sort of starting. I mean, that's the very beginning of it. We got the beginning of the mango season, and then it sort of grew as we were there.
Yeah, it went crazy.
There are some really amazing mangoes there, like, so good. I mean, the fruit in Costa Rica is really high quality. Like,
yeah, actually, to talk about that, there's been no other place I've ever been that has as consistent high quality fruit as Costa Rica from San Isidro.
yeah,
Every day, absolutely every day, we had good papayas, good mangoes, good bananas, etc. When you go to Thailand, a lot of the time you have absolutely terrible fruit. Of course, there's a lot of good fruit as well. Cairns in Australia is pretty good, but you can have a lot of crap there as well. But Costa Rica, it's insane how consistent it is.
in a general, like, there are so many exceptions and stuff, but generally speaking, we always talk about it like this: Costa Rica fruit, the word is quality. Thailand fruit, the word is abundance. It's a lot of it. And Cairns fruit, the word is variety. They have so much different tropical fruits. So that's the three main places that we sort of love when it comes to fruit and where we've been. Jenny Marie asks, what fruit should we look most forward to in Costa Rica, like durian in Thailand? Good question.
That's difficult. I would say like the perfect, look forward to the trifecta of fruits, which is, I think it's called mango, papaya, and banana. Basics, but
yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's just some amazing bananas, especially if you're able to sort of get them from a farm like we did, like actually not from a farm, but from like our own area where there were some special varieties, like Filipita bananas. Oh my god, they're so good.
Absurd.
And so they are really good. And then, Avocados are amazing there.
Very good.
Papayas, as you said, are absolutely amazing. Papayas.
Best,
some of the best papayas ever. And then there's also those little grenadillas, the passion fruits, the big passion fruits that are just so tasty.
Yeah, extremely good.
Jackfruit, we had some kind of good jackfruit a couple of times, didn't we?
We never did, but we heard people saying that they...
I thought they were pretty good, the ones we had, but...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just remember them being terrible.
No? Okay.
But that's
we're not sure.
For Costa Rica.
Pineapple, yeah. Jenny Canellet asks how the pineapple is, and the pineapple is really good. I had some really good pineapple there. Yeah, we did harvest a massive banana branch. We had... You know, if you go to our website, sweetnaturalliving.com, the main picture in the middle there on the front page, that's from Costa Rica. Actually, all the pictures on the website is from Costa Rica, actually.
Wow.
Almost. Well, seriously, maybe all of them.
No, not all.
Okay, but most of them. And the picture in the front there is the bananas we harvested. We had like a banana cage where we had all the bananas hanging, and they're some of the best bananas I've ever had. Or they are the best bananas I've ever had, basically.
Yeah.
Biriba, which is the Rollinia fruit in the Annona family, is also... There's a lot of that there in Costa Rica. And
as in, Rollinia is called Biriba in Costa Rica.
Yeah. And so that's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
All the fruit there, and the coconuts. Oh my god, we're just mentioning all the fruits now, and they're all great, actually.
Yeah, they have mamey sapote, and apparently they're amazing. However, when we were there between January and April, I only had access to one type of mamey, which was not the traditional one, and it was pretty boring. I tried it many times, and it wasn't any specifically good. It was more kind of like sapodilla, if you've ever tried those.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And Jenny Marie also wants to know about the fruit that turns everything sweet, and that is true. We had the miracle berry, or the miracle fruit.
Yeah.
And if you search for Sweet Natural Living miracle fruit on YouTube, you'll find our video there. It's basically a fruit, a little berry. You eat it, and then afterwards you sort of marinate your tongue in it, and then afterwards you can eat anything sour, and it will be sweet. So eating lemon would be a sweet experience, and for example, pineapple. Oh my god, it becomes so sweet. But the strangest of all, tomato. When you eat tomato, suddenly the tomatoes taste like almost sickeningly sweet.
Yeah, tastes like you're almost. It's like eating sugar cubes or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, so that's a really cool fruit to try.
Garrett, soursop, lots.
And there's a lot of soursop there. Yeah. But again, I never was able to find soursop that I enjoyed, and I'm not sure if it was because it wasn't good soursop that I tried, or maybe I just don't prefer it so much.
Yeah.
Quickly, the reason for the miracle berry to work is because it has these glycoproteins, which is basically the sugar isn't sweet, it's stuck to a protein, I think, and then this gets stuck on your tongue, and then when you're eating something acid, it splits the molecule and releases the sugar, and now you're tasting the sweetness from the berry. And so that's why it happens. Yeah, we made a video with Jesse Blaine. He was a crazy guy.
Yeah.
He was pretty cool. He was very cool. Crazy in a good way.
Strange echo going on.
There's an echo. Why is that? Well, I don't know what to do about that. Tell us if the echo goes away, of course, while we're trying to figure it out. We just turned off and on the microphone once. If we stop streaming and starting, that's not good, right?
Yeah, we shouldn't.
Is it still echoing, or? No. Sorry about the technical problems. Are you guys there? We can hear you fine, it's just trippy. Okay. Well, we don't know what to do about it, so
let me try to.
It's fine. They say it's kind of fine. Like it's not that big a deal.
Well, I'm just gonna try to plug in and out the.
Well, can you hear us now? Just let us know if you can hear us, and then we'll continue despite the echo. It's like a sound effect. Okay, we'll just leave it.
Okay.
Can you close the window? Okay. Ayahuasca, we didn't try that. But we hear people do that a lot in Costa Rica.
Good.
Alright, so...
Unplugging worked then.
Yeah, good. So let's now talk a little... So the fruit is great in Costa Rica. January through March, that's when we were there. And it was great. Now... Let's talk about, we're back in Alajuela, we just arrived, we spent 2 nights in Alajuela Backpackers, and now we are heading to our destination, which is Tinamastes. We stayed in this farm, eco-village kind of thing called Fuente Verde, which was a friend of ours, was having this big house there, Xander, and he's actually, if you guys are interested in, well, he's not at that particular place anymore, but if you guys are interested in going to a retreat in Costa Rica, he does like yearly retreats called Ape Living. He just finished one actually. He's probably doing it again next year, I'm sure. So he does Ape Living retreats.
In April?
In April, of course. That's no coincidence.
No, it's not.
And so we went to stay with him. We rented a room basically in this big house, and a bunch of other people. It was just awesome. In Tinamastes. And how we got there was basically to go with a bus from Alajuela to San Jose, which is the capital, and then another bus from San Jose to San Isidro, and then another bus yet from San Isidro to Tinamastes. And I don't remember all the details about that.
Can you remember the San Jose bus station? It had a specific name.
Musok?
Yeah.
Musok was the bus company, I think.
Yeah, but you go to, everyone knows, and you can search for it online probably, the Musok with a C at the end.
Yeah,
Bus station.
MUSOC bus station.
That bus will take you to San Isidro.
Yeah, but I'm sure if you ask people where's the bus to San Isidro, they will know where it is. And so you go there to that bus stop. You catch a bus. It's about I don't
3
remember,
hours.
3 hour.
Yeah, I think so.
3 hour bus ride through the countryside. It's pretty awesome.
Well, you had a pretty terrible trip. You were stuck there. You were getting a cold.
That's right.
Your first few days in Costa Rica, you had
And I had like someone.
and you had yeah, bit of a strange.
I had a
person
strange
next to
person next to me.
you.
And
terrible.
so, yeah, it was a crazy trip. But anyway, you arrive in San Isidro, and there you go to another bus station. You actually have to go get off the bus and then go to another bus station, I believe.
Yeah.
But this is San Isidro is a smaller town, and you can ask people. Costa Rican people are very nice, and then you take a bus from there to Tinamastes. The bus basically goes towards Dominical Beach, but you get off in Tinamastes, which is just like a middle of nowhere place. Like it's not a town. Tinamastes is just like there's a store and a church.
Yeah.
That's it.
I would say there's two cool things about this particular area of Costa Rica. There's the fruit market, which I'll talk about, and then there's the beach, which is a very famous beach in Costa Rica called Dominical Beach. It's known for surfing, and it's big, and it's a beach.
Yeah, let's just say, if you go to Tinamastes and get off the bus, there's nothing there. So you have to know someone that you're going to. So I guess for most, we knew this guy, or we knew a guy who knew this guy, and then we knew where to go. So that was okay. But if you don't have anyone sort of to meet, I would recommend just getting a hotel, like a night or a few nights in a hotel in San Isidro or in Dominical, and just try to connect with people. Maybe at the fruit markets. The fruit markets is a good place to go to connect with people. Yeah, I'll just say it right away. Basically, I get a lot of emails all the time of people going to Costa Rica, and they're asking me where should I go and that sort of thing. And I always pretty much tell them the same thing. I tell them that there are two great fruit markets in this area. And when I say this area, I mean the San Isidro area extending down towards Dominical, not Tinamastes particularly, but this whole area. And there's two big fruit markets. There's the San Isidro farmers market.
Feria.
The feria, that's what they call it in Spanish. The feria, the market. Every Thursday morning. And then there's the Tinamastes.
There's more days than that.
No, it's just Thursday mornings.
In San Isidro?
Pretty sure.
No.
Why didn't we go more often then?
Because we didn't really need to.
Yeah, we needed to. We had like days of no fruit. I'm pretty sure it's every Thursday morning only, but Matt seems to think maybe there's other days too, but whatever, that's okay. At least it is on Thursday mornings, and then you can find out when you're there. And then the other market is the organic market in Tinamastes, which is every Tuesday morning. Mm-hmm. And that's more of a smaller scale, local people. The hippie vibe is really high, a lot of hippies, a lot of fruitarians, a lot of farmers, people, a lot of Americans, a lot of locals, mixing together in this kind of community thing.
And that is a good place to go if you want to connect with people.
Yeah.
You might, I don't know how the hostels are in San Isidro, but you can probably find something. Maybe go to San Isidro, stay at a hostel, and then go to the farmers market in Tinamastes and talk to people.
On Tuesday mornings.
Mm-hmm. You can maybe connect with someone, ask around, are there any farms to stay at, can you do woofing, etc.
Yeah,
it's a good place to talk.
Yeah, it's the best place, I think, to sort of get integrated into the fruit and permaculture and awesome community of this area. There's more local people, and it's kind of bigger when you go to the San Isidro farmers market.
But everyone's really they're shopping.
Yeah, it's more industrial almost, so it's more difficult to maybe connect with people there. But you know, you'll spot a fruitarian when you see one, right? I mean, everyone can see the fruitarians, and then there's people there. So I'm sure that's also an okay place to connect with people. And let's talk a little bit about the markets, but I just want to quickly say, so you might be able to find, you know, someone to woof at or a farm to stay at by talking to those people. Mm-hmm. You might also find that you just want to stay in a hostel in San Isidro, or you just want to stay in a bungalow on Dominical Beach or something, which is more of a touristy area. But you might also want to rent an apartment or like rent a house long term. And if you want to do that, it's a good idea to talk to local people. Maybe they know something is free. But there's also another way, and that is Craigslist.
Oh yeah.
And I can't vouch for Craigslist to say that it's definitely easy to find something here. But I know when I was looking, there was a bunch of options like houses for rent in Costa Rica. There's like a Craigslist specifically for Costa Rica, and that's where you can actually find sometimes maybe houses pretty cheap for rent. Mm-hmm. How's running in Costa Rica? Jenny asks. You can talk about it later. Yeah, we'll talk about it now. I didn't do much of it. I did a little bit of it. It was hilly. It's hilly. Yeah. It's very hilly. So I think now I'm better at hills and I'm fitter and I'm more able to tolerate hills, and I've sort of embraced them a little bit on La Palma and stuff. So I think I would tolerate it pretty well now. But when we were there, I was like, I was not running much just because it was just it was just like down, down, down and then up again. Yeah. On this one road next to where we were living. But I'd say it looks
challenging, especially if you have to run in the road, like in the main road.
But I'm thinking it's one of the best places in the world, though. Still, in terms of like nature trails, when I see people go there to trail run, there's just some absolutely awesome photos that I see, like trails and mountains, and it's a mountainous, hilly jungle country.
Yeah.
So
unless you're afraid of snakes and spiders,
lots of dangerous snakes and spiders too. But you know they typically stay. They don't really bother humans that much. But I would be kind of worried running in the jungle alone.
A little bit.
Probably stick to the gravel roads or something like that.
And panthers
as well. Yeah, the trails are epic, but I haven't tried them myself. Now, let's talk about the markets quickly at the end of our hangout here.
First, we have 2 videos on our YouTube channel, maybe more. One of the San Isidro farmers market, search for that, and the other one is the organic market in Cinemastes or something.
Yeah.
You get the vibe from looking at that. But that said, the San Isidro one is the biggest one. It is humongous. When you go in there, you're like, oh my god, there's probably a fruit stall would be the size of this room, so double what you see on the screen maybe, and there's probably 100 fruit stalls like that, maybe more.
Yeah.
They're all chock full of papayas, mangoes, everything we mentioned.
It's the biggest market I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's just insane.
And you can get really good deals there. I remember we
negotiate.
Fruit, we bought fruit once a week, which basically made us able to buy, I remember, like 25-30 kilos of papayas at one time.
Yeah.
And you can get, I mean, it was insane how cheap it was.
Yeah. Logistically, how we did it, we went there, we were a bunch of people, we all go around getting our fruit. We bought them in we brought crates, like plastic, our own plastic crates. We actually bought them from the farmers to be able to have our own fruit. We filled them up with mangoes, another one with papayas, another one with whatever, and then we filled it up. We went around, we found the best mangoes. When we tried them even. We filled up the crate. Then we went to our little camp almost at the market, put our stuff there, went out, filled another crate with something else, and we just sort of put everything in one place. And then when we were all ready, we had literally hundreds, probably more than 100.
Yeah. 100.
Let's say 100 kilos of fruit, and we got this local guy who did a taxi, thing for us. Like, he had a pickup truck, and we filled it up with all our fruit, and we crammed ourselves into the car, and then some of us took the bus home, and some of us rode with the fruit, and then he drove us home for like, I can't remember how much, but not too expensive. And that way we got all the fruit home in one big haul, and then that was Thursday, and then Tuesday we went to the Tinamasters market to stock up on some little extra stuff. And then of course we had bananas at our place growing there, and that kept us through the week pretty much. So
it was a little bit difficult, only shopping once a week, big, but
if it was now that we were eating all raw at that point, if it was now, I would just also buy a bunch of sweet potatoes.
Probably.
At the market.
Possibly.
And then I would just supplement with that during the days that I didn't have enough fruit.
Yeah, Jenny Canelata, yes, it's extremely cheap. I don't remember the numbers, but I remember thinking that it was just absurd. If I were to give a rough estimate, papayas per kilo,
$1, 50 cents,
50, maybe. Something like that, maybe.
Yeah, fruit prices are like that, 50 cents per kilo, $1 per kilo, $2 per kilo.
When you buy more, but even not, it's cheap.
It's cheap. It's actually, overall, I think we ended up spending less money on fruit there than in Thailand even.
Yeah.
And Thailand is like famous for being so cheap, right? But it really depends on where you're buying it, and if you're buying in bulk and that sort of thing. And that market is cheap, so...
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. We can wrap it up. I mean, is there anything else? If you guys have any specific questions, now's the time to ask them.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that while we think about, is there anything else to say about Costa Rica?
So buses, they're all over the place. They're medium quality.
They're inconsistent though. Like the buses, if you want to go with the bus to Dominical Beach, it's just like...
And you have to know where the bus stops are, because there are no... I think there were no stop signs and stuff.
The key when traveling, and the key in Costa Rica particularly, I think, is to talk to people. Like you have to ask local people about stuff. You have to be. It's not streamlined and standardized like it is for us here in Norway and you guys in the United States and stuff. It's not the same. So you got to ask people around, and they don't speak much English, so you probably should practice your Spanish a little bit.
Canelata asks, where does one get a hold of a teleport?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, unless you know white magic, probably skyscanner.com is the best, closest thing to a teleport.
In this one, Ready Player One.
Yeah,
they have these places inside the oasis where they can, what is it called again? A port, like we can go from one place to the other. I don't know.
Yeah.
But good question. Is there any way to rent scooters around? Olivier asks. Probably. I didn't see any people riding scooters in particular. It's not like Thailand where everyone rides motorbikes.
It's mostly cars, but I think it depends on the area you're in. If you're living in San Jose, the city, the main capital, there's probably a lot of scooters. But in the place we were at, it was more kind of like a farmer's area and long distances and stuff. Yeah. So
I think, if I had the money now, I would just rent a car and a house.
Yeah.
Garrett, how's the English prevalence there? As I said, they don't speak that much English, but the people are used to tourists, so some people may speak a little English, and they're willing to try to understand you. It's not like in Thailand, in Thailand people just they make up their mind of what you're saying before you're saying it. They're so used to tourists some places that they're just like, it doesn't matter what you say. They think they know what you're saying, even though you're saying something completely different. So they're just like, yeah, and they're not listening. Whereas, and it's difficult to sort of try. They don't want to even try to communicate sometimes. Whereas in Costa Rica, I felt people were they tried to communicate, they tried to understand you. So, yeah.
Jenny Marie, is there a nude beach? Probably,
yeah,
guaranteed.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, the whole Pacific coast is a big beach. I mean, it's just an endless beach, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you'll be able to find somewhere. Yeah. And the place we stayed, actually half the people there walked around nude all day long. Actually, it was just
crazy.
yeah, it was just people were just nude all day. Have you seen the movie yet? The Ready Player One? No, I haven't seen it.
Oh.
It's so cool. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we're probably gonna watch it at some point.
Yeah.
Let's
Jenny
see.
can have to watch it this week.
You know any Juice Feast movement? Do you know any locations or facilities available to rent to host a retreat?
Okay, he wants to host a
Yeah.
retreat. Where can he do it? Well, the only place I know of is where Chris Kendall does his retreats, and it's called Farm of Life, Finca de Vida.
Mhm.
That's a really high, like natural, super good-looking natural bungalows, nature, jungle, amazing place. I haven't been there, but I've seen videos from there and it looks amazing. Possibly a little bit expensive, maybe, I don't know, but that's worth checking out. Yeah, you heard of it. Good. And then
Might be others.
yeah, there's the place where Jake and those guys
Oh,
hosted
yeah.
the retreat.
Up
What was
in
it called
the-
again? What was it called? It's where Doug Graham hosts
Yeah.
his retreats as well.
There's a place up in the mountains, kind of above
Mount.
San Isidro,
Yeah, the mountain is called Mount Chiripo or something.
Chiripo.
Chiripo, and there's a place there where they did a retreat. If you can find out where Doug Graham does his fasting retreats, then that's basically where it is.
But Mount Chiripo
Yeah.
Retreat Center. That's probably what it's called. I don't know.
There's also the place where they do the Envision Festival. Jenny Marie says, yeah, that's true. That's on the beach, I think. I'm sure there's a bunch of places there. If you're gonna host a retreat there, Garrett, I would just go there. Just go there and explore a little bit first. I mean, you don't want to go there hosting a retreat the first time you're going to Costa Rica, right? I mean, I'm guessing you want to go there first and explore a little bit, and in that case, you'll use that trip to sort of find some nice places and talk to people. And
It can be the first time if you're staying for a longer time,
sure, yeah.
but spend a few weeks at least and get a good overview.
Scout around. All right, I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
Well, Costa Rica is an awesome place to go. If any of you guys or anyone else watching the recording of this later want to know specifically more details, you can always send us an email through sweetnaturalliving.com. You can also contact me for coaching if you're interested in talking specifically about traveling and that sort of thing. And yeah. Garrett, my business partner, has been there before to Platanillo. Okay, that's good.
That helps.
Yeah. Thanks you guys as well for joining us. Thanks for the support on Patreon. It means a lot to us. It's so much fun now to have you guys with us, like in this community that we have on Patreon now. And the community tab, everyone's posting there more often.
I love that. Keep posting. Like, just throw it out there because we look at it and we really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's so much fun to share with you guys and to see you guys sharing with us, and it's a lot of fun. So thanks for all of you guys to join us today, and hope you have a great day.
Yep. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.